Once everything's perfectly organized, I'll start working on my thesis.
In this video, we are going to learn the basic Java syntax. So a basic Java program and a program. In this, the first line is the package. Third line is the class. Fourth line is the method. And the sixth line is our code statement. I will tell you one by one. Okay. First of all, let us take package. What is a package? Suppose think that I'm going to this PC. Inside this PC, there are different individual folders. So PC will act as a package. Inside that package, there will be different folders. So in Java, inside a package, there will be different classes, methods, interface, all those kind of things will be there. So package is just like a folder. Inside that, there will be classes, method, interface. Now, how to write the name of a package? Suppose I'm going to develop a music app for Ghana.com. For the website Ghana, I'm going to develop a music app. So the website of Ghana is Ghana.com. So how to write the package name? I need to write this in the reverse order. It's that it is com.ghana. Suppose I'm going to work for Flipkart.com. Then how to write the package name? In the reverse order, that is com.flipkart. Now you need to tell me. Suppose I'm going to work for Amazon.com. Then how I want to write the package name? In the reverse order, that is com.amazon. Suppose I am going to start a company, Shindon.com. Then how to write the package name? In the reverse order. So package is over. And the naming convention, you can use uppercase letter or lowercase letter, there is no problem. A good practice is to use lowercase letter. Now, this is the demo program that we discussed. Here the package name, it is com.smartengineer. Now class. Remember this thing. A class name should always start with an uppercase letter. So let us discuss some class names. This is the class name, main. Is there any problem? Yes, this class name is wrong. Why it is wrong? Because class name should always start with an uppercase letter. See, here it is correct. Why it is correct? Because class name is starting with an uppercase letter. Now the second word. See, in this class name, what is the problem? Class name is starting with an uppercase letter, but still it is wrong. Why it is wrong? Because the second word, see, second word should also start with capital letter. So class name should always start with a capital letter, and the next word coming after that should be also in capital letter. Now what is the problem? Here it is small letter. So this class name is wrong. The right format is it should start with a capital letter and the next word should also start with uppercase letter. Now here it is starting with uppercase letter, but the remaining words are in small letter. So the right format, it will be like this. A class name should always start with an uppercase letter and the remaining words should also start with uppercase letter. Now in our program, the name of class is main and it is starting with an uppercase letter. Now we can discuss method. In method, the name should start with a lowercase letter. In class, the name should start with uppercase letter. In method, name should start with lowercase letter. Let's discuss now some method names. See here, is it right? No, it is not right. It is wrong. Why it is wrong? Because method name should start with lowercase letter. So this is the right format. Now here, again, method is starting with capital letter. So it is wrong. Method should always start with small letter. Now here it is starting with small letter and the next word should be in capital letter. It is same like class. In method, the first letter should be in small letter, but the remaining words should start with capital letter or uppercase letter. Now here, method is starting with lowercase letter, but the next word is also in small letter. So that is wrong. Next word should start with capital letter. So a method should start with a lowercase letter and then the next word should start with uppercase letter. Now here it is already wrong because method could not start with uppercase letter. So this is wrong. The correct format is like this. method should always start with the lowercase letter and the remaining words are in uppercase letter. So a class name should start with the uppercase letter, a method name should start with the lowercase letter, the remaining words should be in uppercase letter. So far, so good. Now, this is the program. In our program, the method name it is main and it is starting with a lowercase letter. This was our program, the basic Java program. In this, we learned what is package, what is a class, how class name is starting, but we don't know what is public, static, void, all those kind of things. Okay. First of all, I will tell you what is public. Public is an access modifier. Some other access modifiers are private, default, protected. So as you know, public transport, what it means, everyone can access it. Like that, if we are making our main method as public, then we can access it from anywhere. Now, static. What do you mean by static? If you are making our main method as static, then we does not need to create object to call our main method. So you will have a doubt how to create object, which we will discuss in the later video. Now, just listen. We does not need to create object if you are making our method as static. Okay. Now, void. Void means we does not require any return type for our method. If instead of void, if you are going to use integer, then we require the return type a number. If you are going to instead of void, if you are going to make our main method as boolean, if you are going to write here as public static boolean main, then what should be the return type? It should be either true or false. But if you are making our main method as void, then we does not require any return type. Now, after main method, there is a bracket. Inside the bracket, it is written as string, then a square bracket, args. What do we mean by that? Here, this step is an array, initializing an array. So you need to know how to initialize an array. String, then square bracket, which means it is an array of string. Args, it is the name of that array. Args is a short form of arguments. So in this step, it is string, it is an array of string, then the name of that string is args. Now we can see at the end, there is a parenthesis. So inside that parenthesis, we are going to write our code statements for the code. Now let's open IntelliJ and we can open a new project. File, new project, then Java, next. Then I'm going to put tick mark here. Then click next. I'm going to name the project name as demo. I'm going to show you a demo. Finish. In this window, I'm going to open. See, by default, we are getting our basic Java syntax. That is package, class, then our main method. Now here, we need to write our code. So here I'm going to write a simple program. That is how to print hello world. For that, the system need to print hello world. So I need to write system. So start with capital S. If you are starting with small letter s, you will not get the solution system. If you write with capital S, you will get the solution system in the second line. Press enter, dot, out, because the system need to display it. Dot, then the method, print line. Now, inside the bracket, we are going to write the hello world. For that, we need to put double inverted comma. Hello world. Now, always make sure that at the end of each code statement, you need to put semicolon. Now, let's run this program and we can see whether we are getting our output. Our output is hello world. Now, I'm going to make a small change here. Let's make it as subscribe. And if you remove this print line, ln, there is no problem. With print also, we can display the output. If you are going to put print here, then this gap will not be there. After hello world, there will not be gap. We can check. See, we are going to get the output as subscribe. And See, we are going to get the output as subscribe. And
How's it going, everybody? It's your bro. Hope you're doing well. And that a small, tiny favor. I would check out space font color as well as the background color of my console window. In order to do so, head back to Window, Preferences. Under Run Debug, go to Console, and you can change the color schemes here. I'm going to change the text color to a bright green. Click OK. That's how to change. A shortcut would be to type sysout, then hold Control Space, and your IDE will auto-generate the rest of this print line statement for you. Let's move on to trick number 4. Let's say that we have hundreds of different print line statements, and we need to change the text to print because we made a mistake. So there's a feature where we can replace some text in your program with another. So let's pretend we would like that we have hundreds of different print line statements, and we need to change the text to print because we made a mistake. So there's a feature where we can replace some text in your program with another. So let's pretend we would like to replace print line with print. So go to Edit, find Replace, and we can replace some text with something else. Let's find each instance of print line and replace this with print. Then click Replace All. So that will take care of all that for you. Let's move on to some final tips. So with spaces don't make much of a difference within your code. For example, after this dot and my print portion of this print statement, I could add a bunch of spaces for no reason, and this would run and compile just fine. I'm not sure why you would do that, but that's just to reinforce the point that spaces don't make much of a difference. Unless you're using a space to split up some keywords, then you might run into an issue, or if you're adding space to a string, well then that's going to have a noticeable effect. So spaces, for the most part, don't really matter too much, depending on where they are. Here's a trick on zooming in or out. Hold Control- to zoom out, or Control+ to zoom in. Or you could go to Window, Editor, then zoom in or zoom out within this menu. Here's my last tip for you. Let's say you accidentally close out of your Package Explorer or your console window. You can easily bring those back by going to Window, Show View, and then they are all listed here. So I would like to bring back my Package Explorer as well as my console window. Alright guys and gals, you should be ready to get started with Java. Be sure to check out the full 100 video playlist as well. And if you could do me a small, tiny favor, I would greatly appreciate it if you could help me defeat the YouTube algorithm by smashing the like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. Hey you, yeah, I'm talking to you. If you learn something new, then you can help me help you in 3 easy steps by smashing that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. Comment and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. For a value, and it behaves as the value that it to solve. Well, with programming, we can perform something similar to that, but we are not limited to just numbers. We could also store words, whole sentences, and these things called Boolean values, which hold either true or false. But if we're going to store a value within a variable, we have to list the data type of what we're planning to store within that variable. Is it going to be a number, a word, a Boolean? So we need to discuss data types. There are 8 primitive data types and a special reference data type called a string. Anything that I have noted with a star is particularly important, so I would pay special attention to these. Our first data type is Boolean. This has a size of 1 bit, so it can only hold 2 values, that being true or false. If we're attempting to assign a Boolean value, we would type either equals true or equals false. Something similar would be, let's say we have a light switch program. Well, if the light switch is on, we could say that the light switch has a value of true. If it's off, it has a value of false. So this is binary. That's why it only uses 1 bit. It only needs 1 bit of memory to function. Next we have byte. This isn't as important as a few others, but with 1 byte we can hold an integer number between -128 to 127 because a byte only has 1 byte of memory. A short has 2 bytes of memory, so it can hold a larger number between -32,000 and some change to 32,000 and some change. So integers are important. These use 4 bytes of memory, and they can store a number to just under 2 billion to just over 2 billion because they use 4 bytes of memory. And a long, they use 8 bytes of memory, so they can hold a very large number. In fact, they can hold a number between just under -9 quintillion to just over +9 quintillion. Now a float, they can store a fractional number, specifically up to 6 to 7 digits. What makes floats different from these data types on the top here is that bytes, shorts, integers, and longs can only store a whole integer. They cannot store this decimal portion. So if you're working with a program or a variable that uses a fractional number, you'll need to use either a float or a double. And a double has more precision. It uses 8 bytes of memory, and it can store a fractional number up to 15 digits. So in comparison with a float, this has less precision than a double. And for an example, I just listed a few of the digits of pi. With this example, we can only store 6 to 7 digits of pi, but with a double, we can store up to 15. There is one strange convention with floats. If you're going to assign a value to a variable that's of the float data type, you need to follow the value with the letter F. With double variables, you actually do not need to do so. So that's one major difference when assigning values between these two. Now let's move on to characters, pronounced char for short. Think of Charizard. This uses 2 bytes of memory, and this will store a single character, letter, or ASCII value. An example would be the letter F. But a common convention with assigning values to a char variable is that you need to surround this value with a pair of single quotes. And our last data type is the string data type. The size really varies because these are reference data types. They store a sequence of characters, like a word or a sentence. You could store a single character within a string, but chars and strings behave differently because chars are primitive data types and strings are reference data types. So let's distinguish the difference between primitive and reference data types. Here's a super quick description between the differences of primitive and reference data types. Primitive data types, there are 8, and we just discussed them. They are Boolean, byte, short, integer, or longs, all those cool things that we just discussed. Reference data types, like strings, well, there's an unlimited amount because they are user-defined. Primitives store data, reference data types store an address. Primitives can only hold 1 value, reference data types could hold more than 1 value. Primitives use less memory compared to reference data types, which use more memory, and primitive data types are faster compared to reference data types, which are slower. Now you're probably thinking, cool story bro, but how do we create a variable? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. So the first process with creating a variable is that we need to declare the data type of what value that this variable is going to store. We'll store but come up with a variable name like x, and we will precede this variable with the data type of the value that we're planning to store within this variable. And then with all statements, we follow this with a semicolon at the end. The next step is called assignment. We will take our variable and assign it equal to some sort of value of the data type that we declared this variable to be. But you could combine steps 1 and 2 together, and this process is called initialization. We would take the data type followed by the variable name and set it equal to some value, and then add a semicolon at the end to finish the statement. So you can either do this in 2 steps with declaration and assignment, or combine them both together, which is initialization.
In the next 20 seconds, I'm going to tell you 15 things that you can teach online as a coach and make a lot of money from it.
How about we create a few variables? Does that sound good to you guys? So let's begin with creating an integer variable. Let's say int x. This step is called declaration. We are declaring the data type of what value is going to be contained within this variable. The second step is called assignment. We can assign our variable a value. Let's say x equals 123, and this step is called assignment. Or we could combine both of these steps together, and this process is called initialization. Int x equals 123, and this would be initialization. So we can do stuff with this variable. It will behave as the value that it contains. We could print this to the console window, so within a print or print line statement, we could print the value of x. So make sure you do not write this within quotes. Right now, this will display the value that is contained within x, which is 123, because this variable behaves as the value that it contains. If you were to surround this with quotes, what we are doing now is printing a string literal. You can also print text as well as a variable together. Let's say we have a sentence, a string literal that states, my number is, and then if we want to do some string concatenation with a variable, we would add plus and then the variable name. Make sure this is not within quotes. So this will display the sentence, my number is, plus our variable. And in the console window, it states, my number is 123. So with integer variables, the largest number that you can store within an integer variable is just over 2 billion. Let's say we are working with an extremely large number, like the amount of student debt that I owe. Well, this number is too large to store within an integer variable. We would probably want to use the long data type. And one convention with assigning values to a long variable is that you need to follow this number with a capital L for some reason. So we can now work with extremely large numbers. So this might be useful if you're working with numbers like the speed of light or something. So we now have a long variable and we can display this value. A few of the other data types that we mentioned were bytes and shorts. They have a lesser number that they can store. So with bytes, you can only store up to, I believe, 127. So we could store like 100 within here, and this would be fine, but 130 would be a little too much though. So we don't tend to use bytes and shorts too much as a beginner because it's just way more convenient to work with integers. But you might use longs every once in a while too. But as beginners, we're mostly going to be sticking with integers. Now a double can store a number with a fractional portion. With integers, we cannot store a decimal portion. So if this was 123.01, well, we cannot store this decimal portion. We can only do so with a float or a double. So with a float, you would type in float for the data type. Let's create a new variable like y. Float y equals 3.14. And a common convention for assigning numbers, well, values to float variables is that you have to follow this with f. So you can store a number with a decimal portion within a float or a double, and then we could display whatever this value is. So y is equal to 3.14, but people tend to use doubles more because they have more precision, and then you do not need this f at the end. So this will store up to 15 digits after the decimal portion. So we also have booleans. Let's say boolean z equals, this holds either true or false. And then we can display what value is within this boolean. So if we print our variable z, this will display false. Or we could hold true, and this will display true, but we can't display anything else besides those two. Like we cannot hold the word pizza because booleans only hold true or false. We have characters, char for short, char, and we don't necessarily need to come up with a variable that's only one letter. We could have a name or something that's descriptive for this. Let's say we have a variable called symbol. Char symbol equals, and then place a character within single quotes. Let's say we want the @ sign. So we now have a variable called symbol that contains the @ sign. So if I were to display this variable symbol to the console window, it will display the value that is contained within, which is the @ sign. And lastly, we have strings. So with strings, these start with a capital S because they are of the reference data type. Anything that's a reference data type begins with a capital letter. And let's say we want to store our name. So string is the data type. Let's say the variable name is name equals, and to store a string, it works similar to a string literal. We're going to use a set of double quotes and display or add a bunch of text like my name. And then I can now display my name to the console window. Or I could do some string concatenation too, and display the word hello plus my name. And within the console window, it's now going to display hello, bro. So that is everything you need to know to get started with variables in Java. If you would like a copy of all this code, I will post all of this in the comments down below. Don't be afraid to smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. How's it going, everybody? It's your bro here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how we can swap two variables using Java. Let's get into it. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. All right, well, here we got two variables. We got variable X, which contains water, and variable Y, which I'm going to put Kool-Aid in. More specifically, black cherry Kool-Aid. So let's just put this in. Good enough. And let's mix it. Perfect. So we're going to create two variables, and these are going to be of the string data type. So we'll have string X equals the word water, and string Y equals the word Kool-Aid. And then let's display these with a simple print line statement. And within here, I'll just type in X colon space plus the variable X. And then let's do the same thing for Y. So we'll change X to Y, and let's display these. So X currently has water, and Y currently has Kool-Aid. So what happens if we set X to equal Y? Well, we get Kool-Aid for both X and Y. Okay, we're gonna assign variable Y to variable X. Shit. So yeah, it looks like we have Kool-Aid in both variable X and variable Y. Let's try again. Maybe we can set Y to equal X. No, we just got water everywhere. Let's try this again. We're gonna assign variable X to variable Y this time. Okay, that doesn't seem to work. Guys, my floor is getting really sticky. So it appears that we're going to have to store one of these values within another variable in order to switch these. So one thing that we can do is introduce another variable, and let's call this temp, and temp is empty. Let's create another string. So we'll create string temp, and we can either set this to null, or we can assign no value at all, where we simply just declare temp a variable. So what we're going to do is actually take X and store X, whatever value is in here within temp. So we are going to type temp equals X. So now X can be filled with something, so we're going to fill it with variable Y. So on our next line, we're going to set X to equal Y. Then we're going to take our temp variable and store this within Y. And lastly, Y equals temp. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, we have switched the contents of X and Y with the help of our variable temp. Now back to you, bro. Thank you for the live update, Anchor Bro. It appears on our end that we have also switched the contents of X and Y as well. So in conclusion, if the programming language you're using doesn't have any direct function to switch two variables, you could do this manually, and you can create another variable such as temp. And temp is a temporary value to temporarily store one of these values. You can set temp to equal X, or you can do this with Y, and then set X to equal Y, and then Y to equal temp. So your assignment for today is to post two variables in the comments down below and the code that you used to swap. them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you can swap two variables. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your bro. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how we can accept some user input in Java. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. One like equals one prayer for the YouTube algorithm. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to explain how we can use a scanner to accept some user input. The scanner class is found in the Java utility package of your library, and we need to import that before we can use the scanner. So outside of the class, at the top of our program, this is what we're going to type. Import java.util, and the name of the class we would like to import, which is scanner. Then a semicolon. Now we can use the scanner class to create a scanner object. So we're going to be performing a little bit of object-oriented programming. We'll be covering object-oriented programming in a later part of the series, so don't worry. So repeat after me. Scanner, then we need a name for the scanner. Let's call it scanner, all lowercase, equals new scanner. Then a set of parentheses and a semicolon. Within the parentheses, we're going to type system.in. And there we go, we have our scanner. So we can use the scanner to accept some user input. So let's let the user know that we would like them to type in something, maybe a name. Let's create a prompt that will ask somebody for their name. So within a print line statement, we'll type, "What is your name?" And next what we'll do is take our user input and assign it to a variable, perhaps a string variable called name. String name equals, and now we're going to use our scanner. So we type in the name of the scanner, dot, and to enter a line of text, we're going to use a certain method of the scanner. It is the next line method. And when we type in user input, we type it into the console window here at the bottom. So let's do something with this name, maybe display this within a message. System.out.println, hello, plus whatever your name is. So let's compile and run this. What is your name? Now our program is currently paused until we type in some user input and then press the enter key. When you press enter, that's how you submit some user input into the console window. So I'm going to click within my console window and type in something. I'm going to type in bro, and to submit some user input, you press the enter key. And it states hello plus my name, which is what I entered, bro. Now, there's different types of input that we can accept. This time, let's accept only an integer number. Perhaps we can ask somebody for their age. So let's write a prompt for that, system.out.println. Line. How old are you? And this time we will declare an integer variable, maybe called age. Int age equals scanner dot next, and we are looking for int. So we can only accept a whole integer. You are plus age plus years old. Okay, let's try this again. What is your name? Bro, how old are you? Let's just say that I'm 18. Hit enter. Hello, bro. You are 18 years old. So what happens if we do not enter in a number? So let's try and break this. What is your name? Bro, how old are you? We're not going to enter a number this time. Let's type in the word pizza and see what happens. Well, we encountered an exception. We encountered an input mismatch exception because when our scanner is looking for an integer, we typed in a string. So we need to make sure that the input type, the data type, matches. In a future lesson, we'll be covering exception handling, where we can prevent this very thing from happening. But for now, since we're beginners, we'll just have to be sure to type in the correct data type of the input that our program is looking for. Now, there's one more thing that I want to show you guys. This is a common problem if you use next line after next int or anything else that's not next line. So let's ask somebody for their favorite food this time. So let's add that at the end. System.out.println, what is your favorite food? Then we'll create a string variable called food. String food equals scanner dot next line. And we will display this. System.out.println, you like plus food. All right, so here are the questions. What is your name? Bro, how old are you? 18. Now pay attention to this when I press enter. When we reached the question on what is your favorite food, well, our program skipped our user input and continued on with the rest of the code. So it states, hello bro, you are 18 years old, but we were not able to input anything for our favorite food. Here's the reason why. Here's what's going on. Let's pretend that this box is a representation of our scanner, and we're going to use the next line method of our scanner to read a line of text. So we type in our name and then press the enter key to submit. So this \n is an escape sequence for a new line. The next line method will read an entire line of text and stop when it reaches a new line character. So after we call the next line method, our scanner is going to be empty. However, if we were to call a different method that doesn't read a new line character, such as nextInt, so we type in our input such as the number 18, and then press the enter key, that will add a new line character. So our nextInt method is only going to read this numeric portion of our scanner, and then when we submit it, well, this new line character is still going to be within our scanner. And if we were to use our scanner again and call a different method, like nextLine, well, our nextLine method thinks that we're at the end because there's this new line character within our scanner, so we would need some way to clear out that new line. One easy fix for this is that after you call the nextInt method, what we could do is call the nextLine method to clear our scanner. So I'm just going to copy this portion and paste it. We're not really going to do anything with that new line character. This will just clear the scanner for us. So now we should be able to answer all three questions. So type in your name. What is your name? It is bro. How old are you? Let's say I'm 18. What is your favorite food? And you can see that it paused this time, unlike the first time. And my favorite food is pizza. Press enter. Hello bro, you are 18 years old. You like pizza. Well then, that is one way in which you can use a scanner to accept some user input. Scanners are capable of much more. You can also use them to read the contents of a file and a few other things, but we'll learn about those in future videos. And if you need to use a scanner, be sure to include this import at the top. Import java.util.scanner, because the scanner class is found within the utility package, and then you'll need to create a scanner object just by following these steps. Scanner, you can call it scanner, equals new scanner. Well, guys and gals, that is how scanners work in Java. Before you go, I would greatly appreciate it if you could do a favor for me and like this video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow.
I have been shouting since 2023 that learn ChatGPT, learn AI tools. Many people
Bro. How's it going, everybody? It's your bro, hope you're doing well, and in this video I'm going to teach you guys about expressions in Java, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. You can become a hero and save our channel by smashing that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. Now, an expression is a combination of operands and operators. An operand is the values, variables, numbers, or different quantities that you might see in a program. And operators, they are those arithmetic symbols that you might see, such as the plus sign for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then modulus. So let's go over a few examples, just so that we know how they work. Let's say I have an integer variable called friends, and I will set this equal to maybe 10. So we can change the value of the friends variable by using an arithmetic expression. So let's say that we make a new friend, so we're going to add 1 to my variable of friends. To increment my variable friends, I can just use the plus operator and then add a new operand to my variable friends. So if I would like to assign a new value to my friends variable, I'm going to type in the name of my variable equals friends plus 1 because we made a new friend, and then I will print the value of friends. So our friends variable now contains 11. So we could also subtract, take a wild guess as to what's going to happen. We just lost a friend. Let's multiply. Let's multiply our friends by 2. And now we have 20 friends. And let's divide. We're going to divide our friends into 2. And we have 5 friends. Now the modulus gives you the remainder of division. So we have 10 friends. What if we had modulus 3? Well, that does not divide evenly. So we're going to have a remainder of 1 friend. It's kind of like in group projects where everybody has to get into a group of 3 and there's always somebody that's left over. Think of it that way. Although if our group of friends was divided into groups of 2, there would be no remainder because 10 divided by 2 equals 5 evenly and there is no remainder. So that's all what the modulus is. It gives you the remainder of any division that occurs. Now, there is a shorthand to increment a variable by 1. So normally, the long way of writing this out would be type in the name of the variable equals, because we're going to reassign a value, friends plus 1, right? Well, there's a shorthand way of incrementing this, and that is to use the increment operator, which is just plus plus, and then a semicolon. So this will add 1 to a value, and now we have 11 friends. If you want to decrement, that would be minus minus. And now we have 9 friends. Hold up, wait a minute. Before you go, I gotta discuss integer division because I forgot to talk about it. So if we divide a number by an integer, if there is normally a remainder, well, our program is going to truncate the remainder. Here's an example. Let's say we have 10 friends and we're going to divide our friends by 3. So we're dividing by a whole integer. So our result should be 3.33 repeating, right? Wrong, it's 3. That's because with integer division, we truncate any decimal portion because we cannot store it. One easy fix for that is we can cast our result as a double value or a float as well. To cast a value as a different data type, to the left-hand side of our expression, we're going to list the new data type that we would like to convert this value to. So we would like to convert our integer as a double value because we would like to retain that decimal portion of our result. However, our data type, friends, is an integer, so it cannot store a double data type. So we should probably convert this to a double so that we can store this value. And now this program will successfully store this decimal portion of our expression. Well, that's really all you need to know to get started with expressions. If you would like a copy of all this, I will post this in the comments down below. And if I could ask for a favor of you guys, just to like this video, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your bro, hope you're doing well, and in this video I'm going to teach you guys how we can make a very basic GUI application in Java, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Alright guys and gals, I'm going to teach you all how to create a very basic GUI program. GUI is an acronym for Graphical User Interface. It's a visual program that we can see and interact with, kind of like this. So we'll be using the JOption pane class and be creating a few message dialog boxes. Before we begin, we'll need an import, so outside of your class, let's type this. Import javax.swing.jOption pane. So we will be working with the JOption pane class. Now what we would like to do is type in some user information into a sort of dialog box, and we'll store this as a string variable called name, kind of like what we did on the video on user input. String name, and in order to create an input dialog box, we're going to type the name of the class, JOption pane, dot, and there's a few options. What we would like is show input dialog, and you can really just pick any of these, and we can type in a message. So with this message, let's state, enter your name. And when we run this, this is what we have. We have this small GUI dialog box, and we can type in our name and submit it. But it currently doesn't do anything. So let's create another message dialog box that will display our name along with the message. So J option pane dot show message dialog. For now, you can just type in null, comma, and then a message. Let's say hello plus name, and let's try it. So our first dialog box is the show input dialog message, and we can type in our name and submit a name. And our second box here is a message dialog box. This just displays some information, such as a string of text, and it says, hello bro. This time, let's ask for an age and store this value within an integer variable called age. Int age equals, and we can just copy all of this, J option pane dot show input dialog, and the message will be enter your age. There is one issue though. When you use the show input dialog box, it's going to return a string, and we're attempting to assign the string into an integer variable. So what we would need to do is convert this to an integer, and there is actually a method to do that. So what I'm going to do is use the integer wrapper class and use the parseInt method, and within the parentheses, we're going to take all of this and copy it within our parseInt method, and then add a semicolon at the end. So this will return a string based on what the user types in, and the parseInt method will convert it to an integer that we can store it within our integer variable of age, and then we can display this. So let's display this with another message dialog box. JOptionPane.show message dialog. Null will be the first argument, and our message will be you are plus age plus years old. And let's try it. Enter your name, bro. Press OK. Hello, bro. Then when we click OK again, it's going to go to our next input dialog box. Enter your age. Let's say that I'm 18. Click OK. You are 18 years old. Now let's try this with a double data type. This time, let's create a variable called maybe height. This will be a double value, and the variable name will be height. So since we're working with double values, we're going to change integer to double with a capital D, dot parse double. And the message will be enter your height. And our message dialog will be you are height, and let's say this is in centimeters tall. So we have to be sure that we're getting the right data type, because when you use the input dialog box, it's going to return a string. So if you're attempting to assign that string to a certain data type, you have to convert it to that specific data type. So let's try this. Enter your name, bro. Okay. Hello, bro. What is your age? Let's say I'm 18. Press OK. You are 18 years old. Enter your height. I don't know what a good height is. 240 centimeters. And then click OK. You are 240.0 centimeters tall. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, what we have made is a very simple graphical user interface for fun. This is completely optional at this point, but we will be learning more about GUIs later in this playlist. So if you would like a copy of all this code, I will We'll post all of this in the comments down below. And if you could do me a favor, down below, smash the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow
When you write, your tone influences how readers respond. With Grammarly, just highlight your text and
bro. How's it going, everybody? It's your bro here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys a few useful methods of the math class. And at the end of this video, we're going to create a program where we will find the hypotenuse of a triangle. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. One like equals one prayer for the YouTube algorithm. Alrighty then, guys and gals, in this video I'm going to demonstrate a few useful methods of the math class. To begin, we'll need maybe two numbers. Let's say that these will be double variables, double x. Let's set this equal to 3.14 and double y. We will set this to, let's say, -10. Alright, the first useful method is the max method. This will find the larger of two numbers. So in order to use the max method, we're going to type math with a capital M, dot, and there's a few recommendations here. What we would like is the max method. That is right here. So there's a few to choose from. We can compare two integers, two long values, two floats, and two doubles. I'm going to compare the values of x and y. So I'm going to put these within the parentheses of my max method, and then we can either display the result or assign this to a new variable. Let's say double z equals math.max, and we'll compare x and y and assign the larger number to variable z. And we will display the result. System.out.println z. And the larger of these two numbers is, in fact, x, which is 3.14. And there is also a min method, which will find the lesser of two values, which is variable y, which is -10. Another useful method is the absolute function method. It's just ABS, like abs, six-pack abs. And we'll pass in y. And this will display the absolute value of y, which is 10. So the absolute value is basically a number without the negative sign. I'm not a mathematician, so I could be wrong in that definition. All right, we also have the square root function. That is sqrt. The square root of y. I don't know what the square root of -10 is, but we're about to find out. I don't know. I guess that didn't work. Let's change y to 10. 3.16, blah, 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 blah. All right, that is the square root function. We can also round. Let's round x. So function is the values of x and y. So I'm going to put these within the parentheses of my max method. Method. This will find the larger of two numbers. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a few useful methods of the math class. To begin, we'll need maybe two numbers. Let's say that these will be double variables, double x. Let's set this equal to 3.14 and double y. We will set this to, let's say, -10. All right, the first useful method is the max method. This will find the larger of two numbers. So in order to use the max method, we're going to type math with a capital M, dot, and there's a few recommendations here. What we would like is the max method. That is right here. So there's a few to choose from. We can compare two integers, two long values, two floats, and two doubles. I'm going to compare the values of x and y. So I'm going to put these within the parentheses of my max method, and then we can either display the result or assign this to a new variable. Let's say double z equals math.max, and we'll compare x and y and assign the larger number to variable z. And we will display the result. System.out.println z. And the larger of these two numbers is, in fact, x, which is 3.14. And there is also a min method, which will find the lesser of two values, which is variable y, which is -10. Another useful method is the absolute function method. It's just ABS, like abs, six-pack abs. And we'll pass in y. And this will will display the absolute value of y, which is 10. So the absolute value is basically a number without the negative sign. I'm not a mathematician, so I could be wrong in that definition. All right, we also have the square root function, that is sqrt. The square root of y, I don't know what the square root of negative 10 is, but we're about to find out. I don't know, I guess that didn't work. Let's change y to 10. 3.16, blah, 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 blah. All right, that is the square root function. We can also round. Let's round x. So x rounded is 3.0. On the other hand, seal, like ceiling, this will always round up. Y, I don't know what the square root of negative 10 is, but we're about to find out. I don't know, I guess that didn't work. Let's change y to 10. 3.16, blah, 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 blah. All right, that is the square root function. We can also round. Let's round x. So x rounded is 3.0. On the other hand, seal, like ceiling, this will always round up. So 3.4 or 3.14 always rounded up is 4. And floor will always round down. So 3.14 always rounded down is 3.0. Here's a project that we can work on. Let's create a program that will find the hypotenuse of a triangle, and we will ask the user for side x and side y. So to begin, let's declare two variables, double x and double y. Actually, I take that back. Let's declare double z as well, because z will be the result, the hypotenuse. We'll also need a scanner to accept some user input. Scanner equals new scanner. Within the parentheses, we're going to type system.in. We'll need an import, so include this import at the top, import java.util.scanner. We'll need a prompt for side x and side y. We can do that with a print line statement. Enter side x. I can't type today. And we will store the result within variable x. X equals, we need some user input, scanner dot next double, because we would like a double value. Let's repeat the process for side y. Enter side y, we'll store the result. result within variable y. Now here's the tricky part. There is a mathematical formula to calculate the hypotenuse given two angles, well, two sides of a triangle. So this is what we're gonna do. First, we'll multiply x times x plus y times y. Then we need to put this within the square root function of the math class. Math, make sure it's with a capital M, dot sqrt. And we are going to take all of this and place this within the square root function. And we will assign this to our